Happy New Year. Oh my goodness. I cannot believe it's already 2024. I'm ready for the year. Last year was such a productive year for Save Our Sisters and Save Our Sisters Unplugged podcast. I'm going to give you guys all the lowdown of it right now. So, first and foremost, I want to thank everyone that supports both my platforms. I can't do it without you. I am so blessed and grateful and honored that you guys believe in me and believe in my dream enough to just support where you can. So thank you, thank you, thank you for doing that. From the bottom of my heart, I truly appreciate you. So let me tell you what's been going on. I had to write it all down because, can't remember everything. Um, I had so many wins. I mean, it was just amazing. It was an amazing year. Um, I've learned a lot of things about myself, about how to run a business, how to run the podcast, how to run my group. So many things has happened. So at the beginning of the year, we started off Save Our Sisters group with a luncheon, and that empowerment luncheon was fire. I mean, everything felt aligned. I co-hosted that with my sister in empowerment, Keisha Woods of the Empowering Real Talk, Upgraded Mindsets. Those are her two businesses, and it was just an amazing event. We had a great speaker, Keisha Woods, and Ms. Marcia Boulder came in and just set the stage on fire. We had a lot of women that showed up and showed out, and the discussion forums that we had, and just the bonding experience that we had as women. I think we had 4 generations of women that attended that event, and it was such an amazing event. And they made it all great. So that was really what kicked the year off for me. Um, I Throughout the year, of course, we did our sister check-ins. Those are always great. We hadn't done any of those sister check-ins in person yet, but we have been doing them virtually, and it was nice to just really tap in with the ladies and see what they're doing and answer any questions that they may have. We got real deep in some of the conversations. We had some great topics. Loved the engagement with those. Um, we definitely had our Facebook group is definitely growing. We have almost 470 people on there now. So all those members, thank you so much for joining the group. Truly appreciate you. Continue to share the group with your friends. Just share it out. Invite all your sister friends and your entire sister tribe to join, because we have so much more in store. Um, I did a couple of collaborations. I did appear on Hey Queen Thrive podcast with my girl, Leah M. Forney. She's an amazing lady. She is doing everything. I mean, she was just performing at Afros and Audios. I mean, she just got a lot going on. But make sure you listen to Hey Queen Thrive podcast, because she does a lot. She even advocates for, sexual abuse. And I mean, she is just amazing. She is amazing. Go to her website and you will learn everything about her. I also did another collab with Miss Paula Sema, and she is on the Talk Ship with P podcast. It was amazing to go on there and chat with her. Such a little fireball for, just as we say in our culture, she may be little, but she talawa, which means she is small but mighty. And she stands tall in how she greets the world. I mean, she is so amazing. And so please make sure you go out and listen to her podcast as well. I mean, she is an avid advocate for mental health care. She shares her stories. I mean, she does it all. She also appeared on Afros and Audios, and she also sat on the panel at Podfest too. I mean, she's out here doing it. Both her and Liam Forney, I mean, they just both inspire me so much. I also, let's see here, I supported some community events, again, with my sister in empowerment, Miss Keisha Woods. She had her Growth Over Everything event that she did. She had a guest speaker on there talking about financial health. We always all need to be mindful of our financial health. We all need to know how much money we have, but not just how much money we have, but are we spending it right? Are we putting it in the right areas where our money can grow? So that's an important aspect of that. So you want to be mindful of all of that. Let's see, what else did we do? And like I said, it was an amazing year for Save Our Sisters. Now, Save Our Sisters Unplugged. Oh my goodness. I shared so much on the podcast. And let me tell you, listen, the people that I have come on the podcast, I just love how authentic they are. I love how open they are. And they're just willing to share and just be naked in front of the camera, just because they want someone else to learn from their story. And so I appreciate them. So I kicked off the year with the marriage series because I think learning from married folks is so important. I mean, especially, when you're going into a marriage for the first time, it's always really good to hear from seasoned veterans who've been in the struggle. I wouldn't say the struggle, let me not say the struggle, but who's been in bliss for a long time, but they're seasoned and they can, tell you how to navigate this. And of course, every relationship is different, but you take from it what you can and you make it work in your relationship. So kicked it off with Mrs. Margaret McDonald and Cora Randall. She was also on there. Ifoma Monyago, she also told her story. And I just love how they were just so candid with everything. I mean, I said, bring it. And they understood the assignment, that they just brought it all. And I just love that. Then I went into my motherhood stories, and I have four ladies on there. Is it four? Yep, four ladies on there, including myself. And that was Kim Furness. She shared her story, Sharon Robinson, Larissa Sowen, and Anina Ekelund. She shared her story as well. And listen, being a mother is hard, okay? It is a thankless job sometimes. Sometimes you're the cook, the baker, the candlestick maker, the seamstress, the doctor, the chauffeur, everything. And to hear these diverse stories of these women, not only their relationships with their children, but also their relationships with their mothers, it was so amazing. And I just loved how they just brought it all together for me. So then I followed that up with the Fatherhood series. And Adam Shively of the Podcasting Business School was my guest. And I was so excited to have him on because he said he'd never been in this arena before where he gets to talk about one of the most important roles that he has, which is being a father. And so I was just so excited to have him on there. He dropped a lot of gems, a lot. And then I had Arthur Anderson, who also shared his experience. And he talked about how he supported his wife through it, some of his own struggles, some of his beliefs as a parent. I mean, listen, men don't usually talk a lot, but man, these guys, I'm so proud of how they just brought it all together. And then Miss Tess Jewel Larson. Oh, I loved talking about being anxious and being empowered. And she talked about her journey of a burnout coach and all the different steps that she took to just alleviate herself from being burnt out. And listen, sometimes like in a new year, especially in a new year, when you start a new year, January is a long month. You got 31 days in January. But by the time May comes around, May, June, listen, I'm ready for vacation. I am burned out. So she dropped a lot of nuggets on, how to just relieve yourself of being burned out and just be able to take care of yourself. And then I followed up with The Weight with Miss Virginia Clark. And oh my God, she is such an amazing lady. And she actually invited me to come and speak to her women's ministry about the weight, about what I did while I was waiting for my husband. And listen, I love talking about my songbird. I don't know about y'all, but I love talking about my songbird because he's such an amazing man. But the thing is, in my waiting season, when I was waiting for God to bring me somebody that I feel would be worthy for me, because I have children, so I can't just be bringing anybody just around my children. I mean, you have to be qualified. But after all my failed attempts, I mean, I don't know what the heck I'm doing when I'm picking. So I just surrendered. And so I was able to share that with her women's ministry. And it was well received, and it made me feel really good, because I was on the other side of it. I was in their shoes, and then I waited and I prayed and I prepared. And I didn't just sit there waiting and saying, "Oh God, bring me somebody." No, I actually prepared myself. I actually got my finances cleaned up. I actually started cleaning my house. I started moving things around because once I prayed for my husband, my faith is strong. So I had to get prepared. So faith without works is dead. So I had to make sure that I was doing my part so that when brought me my amazing husband, that I would be ready for him, because he's going to bring me somebody amazing. So I had to be equally amazing. So I was glad to have shared that story with the women's ministry. And then, oh my gosh, people pleasing with Louisa Valentine. And she is such a ball of energy. I just loved her. This New York chick, I swear to God, I just love talking to folks from New York. They got this fast talking New York twang, and they're no nonsense, and they're all about their business. And she was no different. And she talked about her people pleasing journey. And you know what? That is something that we don't talk about enough. There's a lot of people that are here people pleasing. And listen, I'm going to tell you this right now. Cut it out. Okay. The only person you have to please is God and yourself. You have to make yourself happy. And so she was able to talk about her journey and how she got out of it. So she definitely left a lot of good tips for that one as well. And then I got to celebrate International Podcast Day. Oh my gosh, that was such an amazing discussion, because I invited three of my sisters in podcasting. Two I've already mentioned. Well, I actually mentioned all of them before. This was the first time that I did this. I just thought, you know what? I'm going to bring these ladies together, because it was, it was just being your unapologetic self. And so we talked about being unapologetic, and we talked about how do you do that in the podcasting world. And so I had Miss Paula Seema from the Talk Shit with P podcast. I had Miss Leanne Forney from Hey Queen Thrive podcast. And I had Miss Keisha Woods from the Empowering Real Talk cast. And man, we just listened. This was an amazing collaboration, because I put them together for a reason. They didn't know each other at all before this podcast, but they have already collaborated and been on each other's podcasts. And see how that works? I'm telling you. But the discussion was hot. I mean, it was so good. So if you have not listened to that episode, at least, and you're trying to start a podcast, we definitely dropped a lot of gems in there for you. And then I celebrated, I celebrated Mediation Month. And that is so important, because a lot of people are going through the courts for all of their legal businesses and spending all their hard-earned money on it. And mediation is so much cheaper. So I was able to talk with Dr. Hassani Muhammad, who is a lawyer and, of course, a seasoned mediator. And I introduced my brother, Matrix George, for the first time, from George and George ADR Group, on the podcast. And they brought it all together. I mean, first of all, it was hilarious. It was hilarious because there was chicken stories, there were landlord tenant stories, but also they dropped a lot of information. We talked a lot about, where the country is going in mediation. We talked about how mediation works in other parts of the country and in other parts of the world. And they really drove home what mediation is and how important it is. And most importantly, how to help you keep your money in your pocket by using mediation instead of going through a lawyer and having somebody else fight your battles, where you can sit and be more in the discussion of what's happening with your situation, opposed to leaving everything up to a judge to decide what's going to happen. So I really enjoyed doing that collaboration. It was an awesome experience. And then I ended out the year with Paula Seema again. This was the first time she was on my podcast, just telling her story outside of the International Podcast Day discussion that we had, which was the unapologetically you. But anyway, she talked from darkness to downloads, and it was a podcasting odyssey. And she just shared her struggles, and she talked about how podcasting saved her life. Like I said before, she is a great mental health advocate, and podcasting was a way for her to use it as an outlet to just really get some things off her chest. And so it was good to talk to her about that. And then my final episode for the year was with Mrs. Perpetua Young. And our discussion was, are you real friends to the real friends? And listen, let me tell you, women trying to forge relationships at this big age is sometimes, how do you say it? A nightmare. Yeah, call it what it is. It is sometimes a nightmare to make friends with women because you know what? We've been burned, we've been jilted, we've been jaded, and now we're in our feelings. And so we're side eyeing. But, you know, we talked about a lot of that, and we shared a few stories of what has happened to us in that realm of trying to befriend women and how that all works out. But we also dropped some nuggets in there too. So you will definitely enjoy that. So that's what I did with podcasting and Save Our Sisters for 2023. Sounds really busy, huh? So what is on the agenda for 2024? Oh my goodness. Well, I will be kicking it off with a breakfast. I'm taking this month of January to plan, because my word for the year is proactive. I spent so much time last year feeling like my back was always up against the wall because, you know, I'm still in corporate America. And so I couldn't plan all of my events in advance. But this year, I'm taking this month of January off so I can put everything into place, you know, make my reservations, do all the things and put everything on a calendar so that we can have more of a marketing strategy so we can get the word out sooner, so we can reach more people so they can join the events, right? So that's what I've been doing. So we're going to kick it off with a nice breakfast in February, and all the information on that will be coming out soon. In March, of course, we're going to have our impactful luncheon. And I will also be speaking on the Everyday Woman series for Speak Up Sis. And the topic for that was your sister's keeper. And of course I am, because I'm a girl's girl. You know, as much as I'm going to pray for you, I'm definitely going to hold your feet to the fire when you're doing wrong things. So yes, I'm definitely my sister's keeper. But you know, it was such a fun time doing that. So that's going to be airing in March. I'm actually the first speaker, and I will be putting out information on how you can join in on that conversation. But I have a lot of other good things. You know, we're going to be doing definitely more of the virtual and physical sister check-ins. And then, of course, the physical sister check-ins would be networking events where we're just going to gather more and we're going to talk more and we're going to really re-engage and reconnect with each other. I had been on a small hiatus because of COVID, and I had not been really doing too many in-person things. And I'm going to be real with you guys. You know, my mental health wasn't in the greatest. I'll be honest, 2020 really, like, it really messed with me mentally. It really did. That whole fallout with George Floyd and everybody else that had all this injustice done to them simultaneously with the pandemic. It was a lot for your sister. It was a lot. I really had to really pull myself out of that. And I had a few people that, you know, they kept on me. They said, hey, we need to do this. We need to do this. And I was like, yes, we need to do it. We definitely need to do it. So shout out to those folks that they know who they are, but shout out to them that have been trying to pull me out of the darkness. And of course, my husband is one of those people, my admins for my Save Our Sisters group. You know, all of my admins, you know, have been amazing. They have been, you know, just holding it down for me and helping me with this dream. And, you know, but this year I plan on doing a lot. So I hope everyone is ready. So I cannot wait to bring everything And I'm not going to sell everything that I'm going to be doing, but you will just have to look out for everything because now I'm taking this month off. You're going to get everything in advance. So I will talk to you soon. Peace and blessings.